Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Toxic Love. As always, I'm your host, Derek Cap Moore. And in today's video, I wanted to cover the death of Caylee Anthony, the little girl who was murdered by her mother, Casey Anthony. Now, the story starts off by saying how Caylee Marie Anthony was an American toddler who lived in Orlando, Florida, with her mother, Casey Marie Anthony, and her maternal grandparents, George and Cindy Anthony. On July 15, 2008, Caylee was reported missing in a 911 call made by Cindy, who said she had not seen the child for 31 days. According to what Cindy told police dispatchers, Casey had given varied explanations as to Caylee's whereabouts before eventually saying she had not seen her daughter for weeks. Casey later called police and falsely told the dispatcher that Caylee had been kidnapped by a nanny on June 9th. Casey was charged with first-degree murder in October 2008 and pled not guilty. On December 11, 2008, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, Caylee's skeletal remains were found with a blanket inside a laundry bag in a wooded area near the Anthony family residence. Investigative reports and trial testimony varied between duct tape being found near the front and mouth of the skull. The medical examiner listed Caylee's cause of death as homicide by undetermined means. The state of Florida sought the death penalty in its case against Casey, relying largely on circumstantial evidence. The prosecution alleged Casey wished to free herself from parental responsibilities and murdered her daughter by administering chloroform and applying duct tape to her nose and mouth. Casey's defense team, led by Jose Baez, chiefly focused on challenging the prosecution's evidence, calling much of it quote-unquote fantasy forensics. The defense stated that Caylee had drowned accidentally in the family swimming pool and that George had disposed of the body. On July 5, 2011, a jury found Casey not guilty of first-degree murder, aggravated child abuse, and aggravated manslaughter of a child, but guilty of 4 misdemeanor counts of proving false information to a law enforcement officer. With credit for time served, Casey was released on July 17, 2011. A Florida appellate court overturned 2 of the misdemeanor convictions of January 25, 2013. The case attracted substantial attention from the public. Time magazine described it as quote-unquote the social media trial of the century. Television personality Nancy Grace, who referred to Casey as quote-unquote top mom, was notable for the attention and corresponding publicity she gave the case. Casey's acquittal on the murder charges was met with public outrage when hundreds of thousands posting to social media accounts in response. By the way, and for the record, if I'm not mistaken, there happens to be a Caylee Anthony movie that premiered a while back on the Lifetime Movie Network. And I believe it's another Caylee Anthony movie that's available to stream on Netflix or one of those other kind of streaming platforms as well. So when y'all get a chance, make sure y'all look up the Caylee Anthony movie, which documents even more details about her death by her mother, Casey Anthony. Anyways, on June 16, 2008, Casey Anthony departed from her parents' home in Orlando, Florida, where she and Caylee resided. Her father, George Anthony, later testified that he saw his granddaughter Caylee leaving with Cassie. Cassie told her mother, Sydney, that she was taking Caylee to her nanny, who Casey identified as Zenaida, quote-unquote Zanny Fernandez Gonzalez, and the next day she further informed Cindy that the three were headed to Tampa on a work trip. 30 days after Casey's departure, her car was found abandoned in Orlando and towed away. George and Cindy were notified that the car had been impounded. When George went to recover the car, he and the tow yard manager noted a strong smell coming from the trunk, which both later stated that they believed that to be that of human decomposition. When the trunk was opened, it contained only a bag of trash. That day, Cindy reported Caylee missing, telling 911 dispatcher that Caylee's car smelled of dead bodies and that she had not seen Caylee for 31 days. Cindy later retracted her statement regarding the car's odor. Casey told investigators that she had left Caylee at the apartment of her nanny, Fernandez Gonzalez, and that Fernandez Gonzalez had kidnapped the toddler. But when police investigated the apartment, they found it had been abandoned for more than 140 days. Casey also told police that she was working at Universal Studios. However, when investigators took her to Universal Studios on July 16 and asked her to show them her office, Casey led detectives into the building before admitting that she no longer worked there. As it turned out, she had not worked there since she had taken maternity leave almost 3 years earlier. Casey was subsequently arrested. On July 29, Casey was ordered a limited immunity deal in exchange for help finding Caylee. Prosecutors said they would not use Casey's statement to police against her. The offer expired at least September 2nd, 2008. Now, Casey's parents appeared on NBC's Today Show on October 22nd, 2008, maintaining their belief that Caylee was alive and would be found. Larry Garrison, president of Silver Creek Entertainment, acted as the Anthony family's spokesman until November 2008, when he resigned, citing the family's quote-unquote erratic behavior. On August 11, 12, and 13, 2008, meter reader Roy Crump called police about a suspicious object found in a forested area near the Anthony residence. In the first instance, he was directed by the sheriff's office to call the tip line, which he did, receiving no return call. Now, in the second instance, he again called the sheriff's office and eventually was met by 2 police officers. He reported to them that he had seen what appeared to be a skull near a gray bag. That's sad, y'all. So sad and tragic. On that occasion, the officer conducted a short search and stated that he did not see anything. On December 11, 2008, Crunk again called the police. They searched and found the remains of a child in a trash bag. Investigator terms recovered duct tape which was hanging from hair attached to the skull and some tissue left on the skull. Over the next 4 days, more bones were found in the wooded area near the spot where the remains initially had been discovered. On December 19, 2008, medical examiner John Garavaglia confirmed the remains found were Caylee's. The death was ruled a homicide and cause of death listed as undetermined. Now, I wanted to once again say how sad and tragic this murder was on behalf of Casey Anthony murdering her infant daughter, and not only how sad and tragic it was, but how sick and twisted as well. And just maybe in her own sick and twisted way, Casey Anthony had the utmost love for her daughter, but took it out on maybe the father not being in the picture, because it's obvious she was a single parent, and happened to show how much she loved her daughter once again in a sick and twisted manner and fashion by murdering her, which gives reference once again, ladies and gentlemen, to the title of the channel, Toxic Love. With that being said, and all done, make sure you like, comment, share, last not least, subscribe to the channel. And until next time, you guys have a good one.